Hello, welcome back to People Are People. I have not been around for a bit. After my mom's stroke, I got busy with my busy season at work and I just fell out of touch. But I do want to do a quick check in. It's Mother's Day. This is Darcy. I feel like Mother's Day is bittersweet, and I think that it's a little bit of both. And if you are watching this on, you know, a YouTube or one of those, I look like a mother on Mother's Day. So, you wake up and make brunch for all the people you love. And I'm not a martyr. So I have no shame in the fact that everybody brings something. It makes me so happy. Um, we had a beautiful brunch. And my mother-in-law had a sentimental moment where, excuse me, she was just, mortality was just, on her mind. And I felt so bad because I remember when we first met, my husband and I, like 20 something years ago, 21, 22 years ago, her mother had died when my husband was like 5. And I remember seeing her pain on Mother's Day. Like, she was so grateful to be a mother, but she also struggled. And then after we lost my grandma, who loved Mother's Day and planned a big dinner out for everyone, and it was like her day, um, I understood more about the bittersweet. So we always go to the cemetery on Mother's Day. So I do it just like my grandma. You're not supposed to plant flowers. Sorry. So I buy a flat, like a case of flats, if you will, however they're called, like a bunch of them, because unfortunately there are so many loved ones there, and I just like take them out just like she did and stick them in a plastic bag when I get there, and then we just do a little quick scoop. Today my son brought a shovel. I died. Normally we just use the bag and like scrape a little hole and put them in, because they'll either take them out or they'll just leave them. But I don't go plant like a whole bouquet, but everyone gets a little flat. Last year was purple. This year's pink. So I do it just like my grandma did. I know the whole cycle just because of her. This is not at the cemetery that I'm having those issues with. This is the other cemetery. The one that cares about their patron families. But anyway, so we did that. So we go to the cemetery. I've already seen my mother-in-law have her emotional moment. I obviously felt sad. We talked about it. She's fine. It's just, she's a little emotional lately. And so then we go to the cemetery and my mom's crying. And of course she's crying. Her heart is there. My dad is there. My brother is there. My grandma's there. Her mother-in-law, who was her bestie. But everyone's there. And it's hard, And then I go visit like people that my uncle or my dear friend who died way too young. And it's like so gross. But the point is, because we all have that story, the point is I was looking at my dad's stone. My dad died from COVID, and so that meant that the stone had to come during COVID. And so traditionally, we do like a little service when the stone is, placed. But because it was COVID, the stone was stuck on a truck, and I didn't want my first visit to be Father's Day that year. So I wanted them to place the stone first. So like 2 weeks before. So basically I called the place that the truck, they didn't have any drivers to drive the truck. As you know, employees were down during that time. So they didn't have anyone. So they literally hauled it off the truck, this big giant, whatever stone. And we were going to have his face etched on it, because at the cemetery where there's trouble, it's so nice. They have little pictures on the old, they don't really anymore because they don't stay on, but my great grandparents still have them on there. So we ended up not doing it because it was going to delay everything because of the COVID, everything issues. But we were able to still put this beautiful little phrase on there. And the phrase came from my dad my dad was had a business, and he had a client who also was his heart doctor. Now my dad didn't have heart issues, but when you're in your 80s, it's good to know a heart doctor. So in that respect, it was his doctor, but he didn't really have him. Um, and the doctor, his wife, directly across the hall from in the same building, was his wife, her practice, and she was a dermatologist. So they were always across the hall. When my dad was sick, I was texting this doctor because it was his client, his friend. I mean, I didn't know him as well, but I knew who he was, and I obviously had his number from my dad or whatever. Um, and he did his best, to be involved. I remember one day he was at the hospital and he called my dad and he's like, I don't know if I should come in. My dad's like, do not come in this room. And it was just like an interesting thing because not long after my dad died. So here we are 4.5 years later. And my mom had just a checkup at that same doctor. So we go to the doctor and we're on our way there this past Monday. So go back. So the woman that works at the desk of the heart doctor, the husband, she's just really sweet. And she knew my family because it was my dad's client. So pardon me, she would talk to my dad on the phone and my sister. So we knew who she was. She was this nice lady. After my dad died, she wrote the most amazing, we received the most unbelievable, like I've talked about before, legacy. That says it all. When you're gone, even when you're here, if you hear it, which he did and we do, but when he was gone. So she wrote this most beautiful card. And then she sends this homemade, like handmade, like, what is the word I'm thinking of? What are those called? I can like see it. But anyway, I had like all hearts hanging, a wind chime, words. And she made it. And it was so beautiful. And then she wrote in the card, which is like my father personified. She wrote, his song has ended, but his melody plays on. I mean, we bawled our eyes out, but also it was like so poetic. We put that on his gravestone. So I only met her, I don't know, a year ago at one of my mom's appointments. Also just maintenance, when you get to a certain age, you get checked out. So we were there and I was like, oh my gosh, are you the one that wrote that? You're so amazing. We put that on his gravestone, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So Monday was a checkup and I was driving. My mom there, it's a little far away. On the way there, my mom says, call and see. I forgot to call. Let's just call and see if we can get in with the wife across the hall. And she's a dolly as well. She's very sweet. So I call and I say, hey, I'm sorry, I didn't think of this. We're going to see the husband. Can we see the wife for a dermatology checkup? And she's like, who's this? And I was like, oh, I told you this is Darcy on behalf of my mom, so-and-so. Okay, great. She's like, no, but, and then I was like, I didn't mean to be snarky, but I was like, what are you asking? And finally she says, this is their daughter. And I said, oh my gosh, remind me your name. I've heard about you. My sisters know you from talking to you at the office. How are you? Da-da-da. And so I'm like, oh, can we just run across the hall and see your mom if she has a few minutes? And she's like, my mom died. Knife in the heart, right? So I not only did not expect that, but I was so sorry for her and so sorry for him because they're like my parents' soulmates. I don't meet that many couples now, and even like from, hearing about their past story, that have anything like my parents had. Like my parents were total soulmates, inseparable besties, whatever. So were this husband and wife. I mean, they worked in the office across, they drove to work together. And they only work like a couple of days a week. They're much, they're getting older and retiring and okay. So I was like, oh my God. And she said it was like a respiratory issue. It was unexpected. And I was like, she's like, we didn't send out, notices yet. I can't even. So we said, should we still come? She said, yes, come see my dad. So now we're going to go see her dad, who is so sweet, but also I'm just like so sad. So now me and my mom are like, oh God. And we're 4.5 years in, but we still are in mourning. We will be forever. The older my mom gets, or as the days pass, I see her missing him more, even though she's so strong and she's getting out there and she's doing this. It's hard. So we go there, he comes in, we hug him, we whatever. And he says, now I know, to my mom, now I know how you felt. And it's like so sad because you don't want that for anyone else. And I'm like, oh, this sucks. And then I know how it feels for the daughter who we later went across the hall to visit while she's closing up the mom's office, because I'm the child. So I'm like, you have to mourn your own loss and you have to mourn watching your parent lose their partner. So she's amazing. It was so sad. But somebody sent this to me actually a few people, but when my dad died, and I sent it to both of them on their phones. It's that little like picture, and it's jars, and then each jar has a different size black ball inside, and it says the grief doesn't change, you just grow around it. And some days your grief is this big and the jar is this big, and some days the grief is this big and the jar is only this big. So it's so true and so profound, and they both were like, oh my gosh. And so, but to see someone else go through it, and then today's Mother's Day. So yesterday I sent them a text and I'm like, weekends are so hard, especially this weekend. I'm so, we're thinking of you because there's nothing I can do. I can't make it better, and I can't make it suck less. And even 5 years later, can't make it suck less. Even though it's Mother's Day, not Father's Day, Mother's Day still has that suckery because dad's gone. So my friend who lost her son, who I've talked about, they just like installed this amazing bench at his favorite place at the nature center. So I'm like, how are you? Whatever. So she's like, well, we went and sprinkled some ashes there. And I mean, what do you do on her first Mother's Day without her baby, who's going to always be her baby? And it's so sad. He's like 21. So I had said to this dad and the daughter, because the obituary was, I mean, I knew she was amazing, but wow, like she like blazed the trail for women in medicine, and she's an unbelievable woman. And I said, let's do a bench, let's do something in her honor. So they're gonna like kind of focus on that, which does not take away any of the pain, but sometimes when we have something to focus on, it's makes it, the time's gonna pass anyway, as they say, but it makes it hurt a little less while the time's passing if your mind is busy. So then, okay, back to today. So my mother-in-law, she has her moment, and then my mom, I mean, we're all sad at the cemetery, but I sort of love the cemetery, and that like I feel sort of close to everyone, and it's my job to like decorate with the flowers, and then everyone, we bring like, it's our culture, we bring like stones and put those on, and so we did all that, and then we go make our rounds and visit, and then if I see like a friend's father, I do that, and I'm like, I saw your daddy, whatever. So I brought him a flower. So it's like this like amazing feeling, but it's like every Mother's Day at the end of the afternoon evening, I'm like, good night. Like it's exhausting because there's so much love, but then there's so much love that like you can't give because they're gone. Especially my grandma loved Mother's Day. And then like my mom brought her a little windmill. I mean, like it's hard. So the bittersweet is sort of what, the older I'm getting, is what I'm learning, is that people are obviously all we have, but they make the good and the bad. So on this terribly happy, sad day, happy because you're celebrating the moms you love that are here, and sad because you can't celebrate the ones that aren't, or the ones that made you a mom, or, made your mom a mom. It's brutal. But then, like, I don't know, my brother-in-law took my special needs son for a ride in the convertible, and that's so cute because it's something I wanted to see if he would like. Or we all got to be together and eat fattening, delicious food, and tell stories, and like, so there's so much. It's like that bittersweet. It's like the give and take. Like I'm so happy today, but like I'm so sad, and I even woke up like kind of heavy, like. But then like my husband and kids, oh my gosh, they like spoiled me, and they got me everything I could want, which is like all this really utilitarian stuff that like I'm so excited about. But I did get a meditating gnome for outside. I mean, obviously I needed that, but it's just this inner conflict of like this beautiful day that also has a little bit of a cloud. However, we went to Costco after the cemetery, and so I don't remember if I told this story, but we were on our way to see my nephew perform in a Broadway show. Locally, it was like a tour, and we were so excited. I can't remember if I told this, and I wasn't there. They went to like a hibachi before. And so we picked them up there and like so that we could all take separate cars and everyone got in a car and went. And we didn't go to the dinner before because I have picky eaters. But anyway, so when they come out and all like the cousins and everyone's like, my nieces and nephews are like, oh my God. I'm like, what happened? My sisters. So my mom was sitting at the hibachi table and she went like, and I may have told the story, but like, I think it's a little bit of a blessing that I wasn't there because she might not have eyes once I clawed them out, this woman. But my mom is like so sweet and so cute. And she's like funky with her like cherry cola hair and she's so cute and makeup and she's always beautiful and amazing. And she went over to this. It turned out it was an aunt and a niece, but she went over and she said hi because hibachi, you're sitting with strangers, so it was our whole family and these two people. And so my mom said, "Hi, I'm so glad to be sitting with you." And the woman's like, "Get away from me! Get away from me! You're witchy! You're gonna put a spell on me! You're witchy!" Okay, so my mom does have a little bit of like a coiffed, spiky look, and it's cherry cola, and she's gorgeous, and nothing about her looks witchy. Thank you. So she's like, "You're gonna put a spell on us." It was awful. So my mom was like she didn't even know what to do because no one has ever treated her. Like no one ever shows her, I would say, like no one shows you they're shitty because you're sweet and they love you. And so we don't, they're like, "Oh, so-and-so's not nice." We don't know because she doesn't show us her shitty. We don't know. So the woman, the waitress, my mom knew her from somewhere else. Like she loved her and she's like, "No, she's great. Like she's fine." She's like, we need to move. They moved to another table. It was so bad. So it kind of like ruined the mood for the night for them. And it does change it. Like it does. Like you can't help it. Like you, outside things influence us, even though, and plus my mom is so sweet and she was like, it really hurt her feelings. She felt so bad and she didn't really understand. And clearly they had some stuff going on. She's like, "Don't touch my auntie. Don't touch my auntie." And my mom's like, "I'm not going to touch her." Anyways, today we're at Costco and we had gone in for a snack and we were coming back out and this woman stopped my mom. I went to go get the car and my son and my sister were there and she stopped my mom and she's like, "Ma'am, I just want to tell you, you went in pretty quickly, but I'm so glad you came back out when I'm still here because I just want to tell you your hair is amazing. You're beautiful. Your hair is beautiful." My mom's like, "Thank you so much." Now people do stop her a lot because it is a unique color. It's funky and cool and we're all like ponytail girls. But and so when it was over, I said, I call the girl Auntie, the woman from the hibachi. I'm like, she just like negated Auntie. She didn't have to go out of her way to tell my mom how cute she is, even though she is. She didn't have to do that, but she did. And it's sort of, and my mom, like, on this day of bittersweet icky, like, my mom loves her flowers and her little stuff we got her, but, like, it's still a sad day. And then we go to the cemetery. Happy Mother's Day. So the sweet lady, like, not only did she undo what Auntie did, but she did it on the perfect day. And, like, even I was in line and I was talking to this other lady and we got to talking because that's what I do. And it's so funny. Like, she's like, "Oh, I just worked and I just, clocked out next door at the Dollar Tree. And now, but I work 40 hours full time." And I'm like, everybody is surviving. We all are like going through. And I said, "Oh," and she said, "Are you a mother?" "Yes, thank you." And she's like, "Oh, have a great day. Thank you so much." I'm like, "Are you?" Like, I don't know. She's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Well, I hope they spoil you." She's like, "One called me and the other one will." And da da da. And it's like, we're all there. We're all like working and making brunch for 25 people and we're all tired and we're all kind of worn out and then we're all going to go run to Costco or run to hibachi and it's really about the interaction and it's about what are we doing for other people and are we lifting them or bringing them down. And so today we were lifted. We were lifted by this sweet lady. I loved the lady in line. I mean, that's where I meet most of my friends. But and then, there's these sad things that there's really nothing we can do about them, but we try to see how we can lift others. And I even find that, like, I mean, I'm in menopause. Like, I wake up gross some days. I'm just like, bleh. So I'll text my sisters, like, "I'm feeling gross," or my husband, like, I'm feeling rotten today, and they all are like, we all try, like, everyone tries to lift each other. Like, it's a heavy world. So, it just felt like sort of poetic on Mother's Day that it's a hard day for some people, it's a happy day for others. And, I just want everyone to do our best to make others happy, and lift people around us. So I didn't do a long one today. I do have some really good topics saved up. And after not being here for a minute, but I'm, getting back organized and I have these really fun topics and stories. So I'm looking forward to sharing them. And I'm going to bring my mom back on because she's the most fun. We know this. I should have brought her on for Mother's Day. So, but I just, want to remind everyone that you never know what someone else near you is going through. And some of the best people are the ones standing next to you that you don't even know yet. So thank you for watching, and I hope you have a good Mother's Day. Take care and go eat something yummy.